Bruno. I want to welcome you to our call today, where basically the topic of this call is why not you and why not now? The question I have for all of you that are on the line is 2018 going to be the year that you finally decide to take charge and start your own business? Many of you have been on my sites and you've been basically going to our How Do You Start a Staffing and Recruiting Firm site. You know, you've shown some interest in being an entrepreneur and starting your own business, but is this the year that you finally decide to do it? Because it's not an easy decision. I'm not downplaying how difficult the decision can be, but you've got to ask yourself some questions. Do you really love what you're doing for someone else? You know, are you earning what you're worth? And if you stay at your job, will 2018 or 2019 be any different than prior years? You know, when I talk to people before they become entrepreneurs, it's almost like Groundhog Day. It's kind of the same thing over and over and over again. And if you answered no to any of those questions, the important next question is, how do you plan to change things? You know, when will you finally take control of your life once and for all? You know, you've probably thought of tons of reasons not to go into business. I know I did that before I went into business, and now I've been in business more than 30 years. But I can remember when I was trying to make this decision. I was making this decision as a single mom, thinking, okay, how am I going to raise enough money to get my kids through college and to develop any type of lifestyle? And I knew that selling was the only occupation that had no ceiling on income. But then I thought, if I'm going to sell for somebody else, why not sell for myself? But some of the reasons that came up, and I'm sure these maybe are things that you thought about, is it too risky? You know, what if you go into debt? You know, are you going to lose sleep over this or have to work long hours? And do you lose the security of a paycheck, if you call that security? You know, when you look at what's happening, you know, in the job market in corporate America, you know, people that have been in jobs for 20, 30 years are losing their jobs, they're losing their pensions, you know, so there isn't that security of that gold watch after working for somebody 20 or 30 years anymore. But let's discuss some of the benefits and advantages of owning your own business. Number one, you control your own destiny. You know, job security doesn't exist in today's business world. When you own your own business, you're the CEO of your destiny and your future, not someone else. So you're never worried about what decisions somebody else might make on your behalf. You can have financial independence. You know, this is probably the top reason most people go into business for themselves. Imagine unlimited earnings, you know, or being able to create the lifestyle that you currently only dream of. You know, money doesn't buy happiness, but next to good health, money has the greatest impact on your life. When you have money, you have choices. When you don't, you don't. And so, you know, the financial advantage of having your own business is always a big motivator. The tax advantages, and I have to tell you right now, you know, you earn a living, you pay taxes, and then you pay your bills. When you own your own business, you earn money, you pay expenses, and then pay taxes. And there's also many tax write-off for business owners. And the last new tax plan that was just passed in 2018 has got tremendous tax advantages for business owners. And so the tax advantages are much stronger now than they've ever been in the history of our country. And so if you're thinking about going into business for yourself and you're thinking about the tax advantages right now, it's amazing, you know, how many more tax advantages you have right now than you even would have had 6 months ago. Another advantage of owning your own business is the security. Have you ever, you know, lived in fear of being laid off or downsized or fired? Well, think about the joy of being your own boss. You run the business and you don't have to worry about someone else controlling your future. And I think, you know, that is a fear that just about everybody in the workforce has right now. You're also recognized as an expert. When you're a business owner, you're going to have a chance to establish your expertise and be recognized as an expert in your field. And the beautiful part about the staffing and recruiting business is it doesn't cost a lot of money to get into the business. You're not in a business where there's tremendous inventory, when you're going to have to double mortgage your house to be able to go in your own business. You know, the point of entry is relatively low for our profession, but once you learn the staffing and recruiting profession, think about this. All you need is a telephone and a computer, and you can earn whatever you want from wherever you are. And so it's a skill set that nobody can ever take away from you. Number 6 is determination. When you're a business owner, you learn to become dedicated to your business, and which positively, obviously, affects your personal life. You know, because now you're in control, now you're determined to achieve what you want to achieve. And again, the only limits are limits that you put on yourself. 7 is recognition. There are thousands of local, regional, and national awards recognizing successful entrepreneurs in all fields and industry. And sometimes being an entrepreneur can be lonely. And I'm speaking from experience. You don't get a Christmas bonus, you give Christmas bonuses. No one's going to say, gee, great job when you're an entrepreneur. You're saying that to the people that work for you. And so, where do you get that high? Where do you get that recognition? Well, as an entrepreneur, you get the respect, you're recognized as an expert, and there are, many different awards and recognitions that you can earn as an entrepreneur. The other thing is change. When you're an entrepreneur, you have to be willing to change. You're going to learn to anticipate trends. You're going to learn to reinvent yourself and through your business throughout your entire life. It's interesting. If somebody told me 30 years ago that I would be in the same business 30 years later, I would have said that was an absolute impossibility. Because when I was in school, they didn't diagnose like ADHD or attention deficit disorder or any of those disorders, but I'm sure I probably had them. All I got on my report card were check marks. Disrupts the class, doesn't focus, all those things that now they medicate children for. And so when I went into this profession, I was going to do it for a few years. And if anybody had told me back then that I'd be doing the same profession 30 years later, I would have never believed it because I get bored easy. The beautiful part about our profession is the job market always changes. People change, the economy changes. And so this is an ever-changing profession. It's never boring because we have people on both sides. And the beauty of it is we're changing their lives for the better. Most people that enter my profession are social workers who like money. If that describes you, you're perfect for this job. You're perfect for this business because if people, and that's why I think also that the people I meet in the staffing and recruiting business are pretty terrific people because they truly want to make a difference. They truly want to help people, but they also want to create a lifestyle that they want to live. That's why I say social workers who like money, because in our business, you help people every day of your life. There are not many businesses out there where you can actually wake up in the morning and say, every day what I do is I change people's lives for the better. And that's what staffing and recruiting firms really do. Also the pride. When you build a successful business, it's just a great feeling. You had a vision, you executed your vision, and now you reap the benefits. If you do decide to enter the staffing and recruiting business, you will be in the business, again, of changing people's lives for the better. It's just a calling. I think people that enter my business, they're very passionate people because you've got to be passionate about changing people's lives. You can't just sort of want to do this. This has to be almost a calling. It has to be something inside of you that you just feel that you're meant to do this. It was interesting. Even when I was young, everybody always said I was a matchmaker. I was always putting people together. I was always giving referrals. I was always doing that free. And then I realized, wait a minute, I could make a really good living doing this. And let's talk about your legacy. When you own your own business, you can create the lifestyle of your dreams, but something that you can either sell or pass on to next generations. So you're building something that can last. And let's talk about your creativity for a minute. When you own your own business, there's nothing like the satisfaction, of knowing you're responsible for the success of your employees. You know that. Your ideas basically provide them with opportunities. You're earning a living and they're also earning a living and providing for their families and fulfilling their own dreams. In staffing and recruiting, you place hundreds, even thousands of people in jobs. I've said often that if I do nothing else in my life, I know personally that I have placed over 10,000 people in jobs. So if I don't do anything else in my life, when I think about that, that's something that it makes me very proud. If I do nothing else in my life, I think of all the lives that I've changed and all the jobs that I've found for people. It's rewarding and fun to build your reputation and brand so people start referring to you as the expert in your field. I get calls from many people all over the country, in fact, in other countries at this point, asking for my advice. I love working with people thinking about getting into my business because I can help them prevent all the mistakes I made. I started my employment firm, believe it or not, never having worked at one. I went to 12 staffing and recruiting firms many, many years ago and didn't like the way I was treated. And so I decided to open one that was going to really help people find jobs. And after 10 months and double mortgaging my house and almost losing everything I earned, I realized I didn't know what I was doing. I just didn't know the process. I didn't know the strategies. I didn't know the systems. And so I was working 7 days a week. And luckily, I was selling real estate part-time to keep my business alive for almost a year and a half. That was painful as a single mom. I mean, I was scared to death every day. And over the years, I've learned that there are certain ways of doing this that help you become successful. And that's why I love cutting the learning curve of everybody else, because those were not fun times for me. Every morning I would wake up thinking, why did I do this? Like, am I meant to do this? But something in my heart kept telling me, yes, I was meant to do this. Also, when you have more, you can give more. When you create a profitable business, you make the decisions on what worthy causes you want to back. When clients give me a referral, I donate to their worthy cause. Whatever cause they believe in. If they give me a referral, I donate thousands of dollars to their favorite charities. And I've done that my whole life. A percentage of all my profits have always gone back to charity because that's a big part of who I am. Being able to give back to your community is often one of the greatest benefits of being an entrepreneur, because you're not only helping yourself and the people you love, you're also helping people find jobs, you're helping companies find talent. And by the way, there has never, ever been a better time in history than right now to enter my business, because the baby boomers are retiring 1 every 6 seconds. The millennials just took over the workforce. There's more millennials in the workforce than anybody else right now, and they change jobs very rapidly, which is good for our profession. And job satisfaction right now in the United States is 18%. It has never been lower. I've been doing this 30 plus years. I have never seen so many people unhappy in their job. And see, that's great for us. That will be great for you if you decide to enter this profession. So there has never, ever been a better time. And again, the money you earn, if you have more, you can give more. And I love that part of being an entrepreneur. You also have an impact. Have you ever dreamt about changing the world? I have. I have a friend in the staffing and recruiting business who now owns one of the largest firms in the world. I do a lot of training for him, and his firm is valued at over $2 billion. And he started out just like you. He started out with one office, and now he owns one of the largest staffing firms in the world. And I spoke at his last international conference, and it was amazing to just see what he has built, this franchise group that he has built, and he started just like you, wondering if this is what he was meant to do. The benefits mentioned are all possible in the staffing and recruiting profession. There are no limits on what you can build. You can have one office. You could decide to do this from your home. I have a lot of moms that I've helped get into this business, and they work during the day when their kids are at school, and when the kids get home, they're still working from home, but they can earn a 6-figure income working from home and working around their children's schedule. They don't want to build an office. They don't want to build a franchise. They want, one location. I work with other people that started with one office, and now they've got 30, 40, 50 offices because that was their dream. I don't know your dream, but there's no limits on what you can build. It just depends on what fits. What fits you, your family, your lifestyle, what's good for you. You're going to spend your life helping others attain their dreams, which I love that. I think I've kept just about every thank you card and thank you letter I've received for years. We've got boxes of them in a storage room just because I love reading them every so often. And when I had a huge office in Chicago with 80 recruiters, and our whole reception area was filled with bulletin boards, and all that were on the bulletin boards were thank you notes from everybody we had helped. Because when people came into my office and they saw those thank you notes, they knew we knew what we were doing. And it was just nice knowing the impact. And think about this, when you place somebody in a job, you're not only impacting them, you're impacting their entire family. You're impacting everybody they love because you're helping them create a lifestyle. A job not only affects the person working the job, it affects everybody around them, and you're a part of that. And the future for the staffing profession is extremely bright. I have an economist I have followed for 25 years. He's with ITR Economics. His name is Ellen Below. And Ellen predicts that the 2020s are going to be the most lucrative time for our profession that we've ever seen. He's telling everybody just, get ready, put your seatbelt on, because you're never going to see so much business. Because, again, those baby boomers are retiring. And by the way, another trend, think about this. By the year 2020, which is 2 years away, and I've been saying this for 10 years, so I can't believe it's only 2 years away now, over 50% of the workforce is going to be working flexible by the year 2020. That means they're going to be working as a contractor, as a temporary worker, as an independent contractor, consultant. They could be owning their own business, and just working whatever they want, every hours they want. But this is the first time in history that over 50% of the workforce will not be working the traditional 40-hour work week. And so if you want to open a firm that's going to be the most lucrative, that you can someday sell for millions of dollars, you want a blended firm. You want a firm that's going to place contractors as well as people in full-time jobs. So you have that reoccurring revenue every month. You don't start every month at zero. It just makes it much easier for a new entrepreneur to have a blended business model. Once you master this profession, like I said earlier, all you need is a phone and a computer, and you have unlimited income potential. And it's interesting. I know a gentleman in Denver, Colorado, and he lives in a cabin in the hills. And he's been my friend for probably close to 20 years. And I met him when he was in his late 50s. And it was interesting because he had a big organization, and he decided when his wife died that he didn't want the big office, he didn't want the big home. He just wanted to have dogs and animals and a farm, and moved to the hills in Colorado. And so he moved to Colorado and lives in an A-frame. It's just an amazing house. I've actually been to his home. And it's interesting because he works part-time, but he's been at this for years, okay? And he produces in direct placements roughly $750,000 a year. And he told me he needs $100,000 a year to live on. And so he donates to worthy causes. He does all kinds of amazing things. And he has no office. He is working out of this A-frame in the hills of Colorado with his farm and his dogs and all his animals. And he said, it's just nice to know that if I want to buy something, most fees are 25 grand, so how many placements do I have to make to buy whatever I want and pay cash? See, once you learn this, you can live anywhere, move anywhere, and still maintain a very profitable business. I have a friend that's living in Belize right now. She had a firm in New York City, got sick and tired of the rat race, moved to Belize. Because, see, all we need, again, they don't care where we live. All people care about is, can we provide the talent they want to hire? So you can live anywhere, move anywhere, and always have financial security. Now, you have three options when you enter our profession. Number one is you could go it alone like I did and learn by making mistakes. Often this results in a failed business. I don't know how I made it. I was doing so many things wrong that when I finally learned how to do this business, I don't know how I survived. I think it was because I was selling real estate part-time. I was literally working 7 days a week. You can invest in a franchise, but those options are right around 75 grand, if not more, and you pay a percentage of your sales to the franchisor for 10 years, whether you're making money or not. Or I've developed a program, and I did this a little over a year ago, and the reason I did this was because I had new people calling me all the time. How do I get into your business? How do I get into your business? And I would do a 15 or 20-minute call with them. And then they might buy my coaching club or they might buy my tutor, but they didn't set their business up right. So I'd get them on the live calls we do, and I realized, oh my God, they didn't pick the right niche. They don't have the right business model. They're way too broad. They don't understand, all the barricades to what they decided to set up. I have people that try to invest in our program all the time. And it's interesting that once I start discussing what they want to do, and if they won't follow my advice, if they're going to just go off and do something, and I know they're going to fail, I have refunded their money because I said, I'm not going to take your money and have you fail and then blame my program. You're picking the wrong niche. You're picking the wrong segment. You're not going to make any money. And there's just some people that are bent, they've made up their mind on what they're going to do, and even when they're failing, they don't want to make a change. I can't be a part of that. The reason I developed this program at this point in my career is I want to help some new owners. I've run a very successful business. I've got, a tremendous training company. I've done a lot of other things. Now I just am passionate about helping some new owners. And so what we decided to do, which we've never done before, is kind of do a little March Madness thing. It's my daughter's birthday today, so I said, you know what? I'm going to do something that I've never done before because I don't have that many speaking engagements in the next few months. I've got a lot in the summer, a lot in the fall. I'm doing some training for LinkedIn Learning, and I decided to dedicate the next few months to work with new owners. And so if you invest in our Startup Tutor program, you're going to get a step-by-step process of every important decision you have to make so that we can help jumpstart you where you can get a profitable business in the shortest time possible. And we're here to guide and mentor you. And in just a few minutes, I'm going to give you, the special offer that I decided to give to only people on this phone call. But I want you to understand what this program includes because I had a business broker put a value on the program that we have, and he said, Barb, anywhere between 25 and 30 grand is about where you should be. And that's why you're going to be shocked when you hear what the investment is in our Startup Tutor program. And this is what you get. I wrote a 24-lesson program that shows you how to set up your business, all the decisions you're going to make. I'm going to help you pick your niche. I'm going to help you pick the titles you're going to place. I'm going to help you really understand how to set it up properly so you don't make the mistakes I made or I see many new owners make that fail. There's an 80-day program, and I do 6 live calls a month with this program, and you're going to watch a video, you're going to read content, you're going to write down what you learn, you're going to take a test every 5 days to make sure you're maintaining the information. And then I have live calls, I have coaching calls, I have training calls, and on these calls are people that are in business, new owners, and so you're not only going to learn from me, you're going to learn from the questions they bombard me with. We provide you with a 16-week temp and contract tutor because I want you to have a blended business. That's where you're going to make the most money. We will create and basically design a responsive website for you. My tech team that does all my stuff will do your website and host it for a year and provide your email addresses. We'll help you create your logo. We'll help you pick your name. We'll give you all the forms you need. We only place 5% of the people that come to us, by the way. Most people don't know that. Staffing and recruiting firms place 5% of the people that we attract because our clients will only hire skills, stability, experience. So there's 95% of the people that we can't help, but we designed a career portal for them. And this basically, I designed this 4 years ago, and it walks job seekers through everything I know after being in this business 30 years and shows them how to get a job on their own. These are people you won't place, but it generates passive income for you. So we also give you one of the career portals. We will pay for you to get certified in the profession. Once I know what niche you're in, what segment of the business you're in, I will tell you what certification will be most beneficial for you, and we'll pay for it. And if you do contract or temporary, you don't want to fund it yourself. You would need like $250,000 to fund, even to start funding a temporary or staffing business. So there's companies that are funding companies that will provide the whole back office for you. So all you have to do is sell, and then somebody else funds it. They do the payroll, they do the timesheets, they do everything, and they just send you a check once a week. There's no better profession. There's no better time than now. And so for the first time, we've had this on the market a year, and I've decided that we're going to give anybody on this call a 25% discount on our program. So for the 12 months of mentoring and all the resources I gave you, the total investment is under $4,000. And the reason we're doing that is because, again, timing is right. I've never seen a better time for people to enter the profession than now. And so if price is, because our program usually sells for $4,997, so I've reduced it by over $1,200. And the reason I've done that is to try to entice people right now to invest because I've never seen the market better. And so that's why, I really do think that there's no better time than now. What I would like to do now is answer any questions that any of you have. And also, if you'd rather learn more and call my office, if you'd rather just talk to somebody one-on-one rather than on a phone like now, you can, call our office there. Our support line is there. I don't want you to order off our site because on our site, howtostartarecruitingbusiness.com, this discount pricing is not there. This discount pricing is just good until March 10th. Because I'd love to work with a few owners right now, get them on, get them running, and get them up, so that within the next 60 or 90 days, we can have your business up and running, even if you're working full-time. And I can help you, again, avoid all the crazy mistakes I've made and all the mistakes I've seen businesses make over the 30 years I've been in business. The other advantage I have is I do in-house training for a lot of companies. Like I'm helping a company right now go from $10 to $20 million because he wants to sell, and I'm showing him exactly what to do. And so if you want to check me out, you can Google Barb Bruno. You can call anybody that you see online. I also got picked by LinkedIn to do a bunch of recruiting courses for them. They're flying me back to California in June to do 2 more courses. And so I'm hoping that you're comfortable with who I am and that I have the credentials to help you. Now it's just a decision of you deciding, am I going to make the commitment? Am I really going to go at this? Because, again, that's all it takes. It just takes a commitment and your willingness to sell. If you're not comfortable with selling, because we're selling jobs to candidates, we're selling our services to the clients. So when you own a business, you're in sales. You could have the best product, the best company, but unless you know how to sell it, it doesn't do you any good. And so I tell people all the time, if they want to be an entrepreneur, realize that is a sales profession. And so you have to be sure that you're comfortable with doing that. But now I want to answer questions. You can ask me questions one of two ways. When you called in, I gave you a telephone number, a PIN number, and an access code. If you put all three numbers in, you could go to your name, and you see that little hand. It looks like a raised hand. If you click that, I can unmute your lines, and you and I could talk. Or you can go down below where you see the word questions, and then you can type in any question. If you don't want me to use your first name, just put the word confidential or anonymous, and and then I will not use your name. Otherwise, I'm just going to use your first name anyway. So let's see. I see no hands raised, but I see a bunch of questions. So let me go down below. Okay, this is from Pamela. How long will it take me to set up if I'm working full-time during the day? You could do our classes in the evenings and weekends, okay? Every call we do is recorded. You also have access to me. So any questions you have for me, I can talk to you on evening hours or weekends. I have no problem doing that because I want to help you. But you could have your business set up depending on, how much time you spend. If you put, 5 hours into this program a week, you'd have your business set up in anywhere between 60 and 90 days, and that's your website up and everything done. Okay, this is from Frank. Do I have to wait 80 days to take that program? No. The Top Producer Tutor is my brain dump. It's everything I've learned about marketing, recruiting, overcoming objections. Every script you're going to use, every objection you're going to get, everything is in there. We say it's 80 days because when people buy that program for their recruiters, we say take it, one course a day, every day. The lessons take about 15 or 20 minutes. Obviously, if you're a new owner and you want to learn quicker, we put you on immediate advance. I would not suggest that you do more than a couple, 3 lessons a day because you want to retain the information. But, again, you can finish that program much quicker. Everything is self-paced. Everything is web-based other than the live calls. So you can work at this. I had a gentleman, the fastest we've seen anybody set up was a gentleman who had quit his job, but he didn't quit. He got downsized. He was an executive with a company making almost $400,000 a year. He was in the job market for 2 years. And was so down when he talked to me that I suggested that he don't go into his own business because I didn't know if he was going to be able to pick himself back up because he was just so defeated after 2 years. And he called me 6 weeks later. He actually went to a psychologist because he felt that he was clinically depressed almost. 6 weeks later, he called me and said, I'm ready. And I go, are you sure you're ready? And he goes, absolutely. He got his business set up in 32 days. But he was working at it full time, and he told us, he said, I want everything on immediate advance. I want my website up in less than 3 weeks. I'm ready to move. And so we'll work as fast as anybody wants to work, or we respect people that are working. We respect people that might not want to work as fast as somebody else. So whatever your pace is, that's how long it takes you to set up the business. But I do want to warn all of you about something. When you go into this business, you're not going to see money for probably 5 months. And you've got to understand that because it's going to take you 3 months to set up your business. And then even if you write business right after you start your business. So in month 4, you wrote some business. Well, now you're going to have to recruit people. And the average hiring process is taking 5 weeks on the direct side. On the contract, it can go a little bit quicker. But on the direct side, it's 5 weeks. People hand in a 2-week notice, and companies pay you in 30 days. So you have to be ready not to have an income for 5 or 6 months because it's going to take you that long to set it up. That's why I tell people that are working, keep your job, do this at nights and evenings. When you start writing business and you're close to getting a hire, then you quit your job because now you've got money coming in. The average fee out there right now for any of the professional placements, whether it's accounting, finance, medical, engineering, IT, whatever, is $25,000. For one fee, for putting one person in a direct job. On contractors, if you do higher level contract, you'll clear anywhere between $10, $11 every hour they work. That'll be your profit. So you can see how fast you can build this once you get there, but you have to be willing to have that little bit of a lull when you first go into this business. Let's see. This is from Susan. Will you really help me pick my niche? Or am I involved? No, I don't pick your niche for you, Susan. What I do is I show you how to pick a niche, and then you go out there and you do your research in your community, and you come back to me and tell me what you've discovered. And I also do some research on your marketplace, and then I help guide you. I'm not going to tell you what to do. That's not my job. But for instance, I have a gentleman that wanted to place ex-convicts in jobs. And that's all he wanted to do, and he wanted to buy our program. Well, people won't pay a fee for an ex-convict. People won't pay high margins for an ex-convict. That business would end up being nonprofit, and that's what I told him. And he still insisted he was going to do that. And it was interesting because that was 7 months ago, and he called me a month ago saying that he might want to buy our program and do something different. So he went out and did it. It didn't work. So that's the type of thing I'm talking about. Or if you're going to go into the business, should you do lower level temp, like light industrial temp, or should you place engineers on contract? On the temporary side, you might clear 50 cents an hour. If you're placing an engineer, you're going to clear $10 to $11 an hour for every hour they work. So where do you want to go? So those are the kinds of things I will teach you. I want you to make the most money. I want you to be profitable. That's what I care about. You know, I became a trainer so I could teach people what I know, and so they can make more money and be profitable and live the lifestyle they deserve to live. Okay. If I've never done recruiting, this is from Julie, if I've never been a recruiter, never done recruiting, how hard is this to learn? It really isn't, and we give you every script, we give you every form, we give you everything you're going to need. And so you're not, you know, all you're going to do is add your personality. You add your personality, Julie, and then it works. You know, and people want to work with people they like. And so we'll even teach you how to go up against firms that are very established. Like a lot of new people, how do I compete with someone who's big, or how do I compete with somebody that's been in business 20 years? We'll show you exactly how to do that, because people will hire from anybody that's got the talent. And you're not going to pay for job boards. You're not going to go out there and spend a lot of money on advertising. We're going to teach you how to recruit passive candidates, and it won't cost you a dime. The only cost you're going to have in addition to our program is you need a good computer, and you need to have a couple landlines going into your home, because you don't want people to get a busy tone, and you don't want to be giving your cell phone out to everybody. That will be a nightmare. So you need a couple landlines in your home, you know, and again, there's not much other expense other than our program, because we're going to give you everything you need. Let's see. Where do I call to get more information? The number that's right on the screen is my number. So you can either call and ask for me. My name is Barbara, or you can ask for Jody. Jody's worked for me for almost 20 years. She's one of my big billers, and if you want to talk to somebody who's actually doing the job, talk to Jody, because she's in the trenches. I currently am only doing client development for my company. I no longer recruit, because my training schedule, and I'm working with a lot of new owners now, that limits, you know, and so, but I was recruiting up until like 3 years ago. Still talking, and every so often I'll have a candidate call that insists on working with me, so I'll work them, you know, just because I've placed them throughout their career and they only want to work with me, which is fine. You know, but I'm telling you, once you learn this, there's nothing that you'll never have to say I can't afford it, because that won't become part of your vocabulary, because there are no limits in this profession. Okay, I don't want to take a lot more of your time. I did promise this would be a 30-minute, you know, webinar. I don't believe in going longer than 30 minutes. Okay, wait, I see Mary just raised her hand. Okay, Mary, what is your question? Let's see. Okay, Mary, you're self-muted. And so you've got to unmute yourself. For some reason, you muted yourself. And so I'm not able to, let's see. Let's see if I can unmute you. Yeah, see, they've got down that you're self-muted, Mary. Can you unmute yourself? For some reason, you muted yourself when you came in. Yeah, it's impossible for me to unmute you. It's just not letting me. Mary, I'll tell you what, if you've got a question, you want to put it down below. You want to type in your question in the gray bar down below, or what you can do, Mary, is you can call our office if you've got a question. That number, that 219-663-9609, if you call that number, we'll be glad to answer any question you may have. Okay, I see no more questions. I would love nothing more than to be your mentor, be your coach, and to help you set up your business. But again, the first step has to be from you. You know, it is a big decision, you know, and I'm not saying that the investment is a drop in the bucket, you know, but when you think about, you know, what else you spend money on, you know, and when you think that you could start setting up your own business for under $4,000 a year, that really is, you know, it's a not a big, you know, entry when you think about, okay, Mary typed in a question. Let me go down there. Let's see. I'm unmuted now. Okay, let me go back to you, Mary. Okay, Mary, I got you unmuted. What was your question? Mary, I've unmuted you. Are you there?
Yeah, just a second.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, yes.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize it. I thought you had to type in the question.
No, no,
okay,
no,
Barb,
no. I can just...
Yeah. Okay, I'm sorry. I just kind of got in this. I forgot that this was earlier. But anyways, this is what my question is. And you touched on this, but I wanted to know more about the client development part of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the client development part actually is the easier part of the job right now, Mary, than the recruiting part is, because companies really need our services. You know, when you go out there right now, companies are closing because they can't find talent. And employment firms right now are only filling about 20% of the jobs they're writing. So is there room for other people to enter our profession? You better believe it is. You know, but we walk you through a client development process. It takes 6 contacts, Mary, for them to remember who you are and what you do. And so we have a marketing plan that actually gets your name in front of new prospects 6 times in the first 9 weeks, so they know who you are and what you do. But we're also going to teach you how to, you know, convert reference checks into marketing calls. To just go out there and cold call into companies is not the best way to land clients. You know, there's no reason to cold call right now because of all the information online. Because of all the abundance of information that we can get, we make warm, informed calls. But we're going to teach you how to get leads from the candidates that you interview. We're going to teach you how to find most of your clients, you know, by converting reference checks into marketing calls. We're going to show you how to market candidates. If you've got a person that's really outstanding talent and you ask them where they want to work, and you go in and market them, you would be amazed at how often they set up interviews and end up hiring the person. So if that cold calling for clients scares you, and that is, a lot of people, how do I find my clients? Yeah. We'll walk you through. 20 days of our tutor are dedicated to nothing but marketing. There's 35 marketing programs in our library that give you additional information, plus we give you all the forms, all the scripts. We'll give you the 10 objections you're going to get when you try to land clients and how to effectively overcome them, because most recruiters are not good at that at all. And so once you go through the program, you're going to be armed with information that most people that are out there doing the job don't know and don't have. And so it gives you an absolute advantage going in.
Okay, that was like my main point. And just one more question.
Sure.
When a person is doing this, do they have to have like a LinkedIn account? Do you have to have, as a recruiter, a LinkedIn account? Because I'm going to tell you something, that is really expensive. That's a big expense.
No, it's really expensive. It's really expensive. And what I would say to you is, no, Mary, you don't need LinkedIn Recruiter. We can teach you. In fact, I just had an individual do a program on how you can use LinkedIn to get many more leads without having LinkedIn Recruiter. And we give you a lot of other tools that are free. As a new owner, you don't want to spend money on job boards or LinkedIn Recruiter. Now, your LinkedIn profile has to be extremely strong, and we'll show you how to write it. Like, your LinkedIn profile can't be your resume regurgitated. It can't say that you're a business owner. You know, you want to put down workplace expert as your title. You know, you want it to be a mini sales letter. So we even help you with that. Like, how do you do a strong LinkedIn profile? That's just part of what we'll teach you.
I just wanted to clear that up because I see that a lot of businesses have LinkedIn, and I'm just like, for an individual, really cost prohibitive. It's too much.
It is. Right. But the truth of the matter is, when you think about it, you think of the cost. If you made one placement, you've paid for it. So eventually, when you're in business, if you decide you want it down the road, but as a new owner, no, don't spend the money. We're going to teach you how to find candidates, passive candidates, which are the ones your clients want to hire anyway, and you don't have to buy job boards, and you don't have to get LinkedIn Recruiter. You don't have to buy all those things because you've got to learn to be a recruiter. In fact, I speak in front of our end users all the time, and one of their biggest complaints is, we don't come to you to get candidates we can find on our own. You know, we want you to find those passive candidates that are working. That's what we teach you to do.
Okay, last question. With your program, is everything online, I mean, or somebody, or how does this work?
Everything is online. Everything is web-based, and it's backed up by my team. So everything is, you can access it any time of the day you want, and you can go in there anytime you want. And, you know, again, you can access it 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. It's self-paced. Our support is open Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. But you've also got access to me. Like, I've talked to people on evenings and weekends because, quite frankly, I get very vested in the new owners. And if somebody can't talk, they're working, and they've got a question, and they, you know, text or email me, I'll get back to them. You know, so yes, it's all web-based. It's all self-paced.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Okay. All right, let me mute you out. Okay, Amber wanted to know, how can you invest, take advantage of the special offer? The only way you can take advantage of the special offer is to call the number you see right there and ask for Jody or myself. Because, you know, again, we don't have this online, we don't have this anywhere, so if you just call that number and ask for Jody, that you'll get that special pricing. So that's all you have to do, and I hope you do it. Let's see. A lot of you are just saying thank you. And again, if you've got any questions after this, you know, please call my office. We'll be glad to answer your questions. You know, and whether you go through my program or you do something on your own, what I want to leave you with is this is a tremendous profession. The best is yet to come, as I said earlier in the call. The 2020s are going to be amazing for our profession. Everybody needs our services. When people say no to us, I teach you they're not saying no, they're just saying not yet, because eventually they're going to need to use you. Everybody does. The job seekers do, the clients do. You just have to learn how to position yourself, and we're here to help you. So, you know, I hope that some of you consider this, but if you don't, please still consider the profession, because it's just a wonderful profession to be in. So I thank all of you for joining me. This call is recorded. We will be sending out a copy of the recording to all of you. And I do hope to hear from some of you. And again, we're here to answer questions. We're here to mentor and coach you. And I hope you all have a great day. Thanks so much.